Guys, I hope you're all doing very well. I'm back now from the break. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I'll be looking to do a few more videos a bit more regularly now. Okay, so it's Monday the 25th of March. The trading disclaimer applies. It's in the description below. You'll notice today that the price action doesn't look very interesting, although there are a few things that are worth pointing out. I'll go through it again tomorrow in the video. But the first things that I spotted were that we really kind of struggled to break and make any progress above the value area low from Friday with today's price action. And this cluster here that you can see just really shows that quite clearly. It struggled to make any headway above it. It was rejected, and there was a second rejection here. And my thinking was, if we were able to break through the value area low on the way up to the point of control, you could see that there was this low volume area, and you can also see it over there on the right hand side with this composite profile. This is a 5-day composite profile on the right, and my thinking was that if we were to break through these low volume areas, including this area here, which is not a low volume area but could have potentially provided some resistance, but if we were to break through those two low volume areas, we'd get to the point of control pretty easily. But it all depended on breaking through this zone. Now this zone has acted as a bit of a value area, so tomorrow our profile is probably going to look something like this. I can't quite see it because it's overlapping this previous one. Excuse me. But we'll see it a little bit more clearly tomorrow when we've got the data completed. So let's go and take a look at the trades that happened from today's session then. So I did about 5 trades, I think it was, today. And if I just bring up the chart over there. First trade that I got into this morning was it was a buy on the DAX, and it was around about 8 o'clock in the morning. So this version of the strategy, the Sierra charts version, is very, very similar to the MetaTrader version, which is the version that I I trade automatically with. So whilst it doesn't actually show that there was a valid signal on Sierra charts, this area here, this cluster of candles, was very, very close to flipping back to neutral, but it didn't do it on Sierra charts. It did on the MetaTrader version, but it didn't on Sierra charts. So it's just an example of the fine margins that can separate this version of the strategy from the MetaTrader version of the strategy. But anyway, the MetaTrader version did take a signal, or it did take a trade straight off the bat around about 8 o'clock, just after 8 o'clock. And it was a long, and the details were a long, I can probably copy the details in here actually. They were the details there. So that was the first trade. And it did pretty well. It got off to a decent start. I think we got a high up there. Actually, I'm on futures at the moment. I need to go and change that because this was a CFD trade. Nope, I am correct. This is the one. I thought I was on my futures chart. The one that I was looking at just a moment ago here. This was futures. I'm a little bit rusty, it seems. But yeah, you can see here that we bought in at 334. We got in to a bit of profit early on. It then retraced back down towards this median line and got a low of around about 320 or 319, and then it rallied again up to the high of the trade, which was up here. At that point, the trade was moved to break even, and it got to break even simply because the profit on this trade was over 1%, so I moved the stop loss to break even, and unfortunately this retracement here took me out. So I got a break-even trade on there. Had I have just left it as a set and forget trade, then 410 would have been the target. I don't think it got there. No, it was just short. So I wouldn't have quite got there. But it was pretty close, so I was quite happy with the way that it walked off. But unfortunately for me, it was a break-even trade. And at a similar time that this one closed out, we had another one open up, which may have confused a few people, but it was a sell on FTSE. And let's just move ourselves over there. And this is actually the futures one for the DAX, but I'll just bring up FTSE. We'll take a look at that, and we'll just move it back over here. It was around about 10 to 9, and it was that one there. That was sent out to the channel at 8.50, and it was a sell. 71.68.50 was the entry, and I was risking 11 points, just under, and looking for 71.23, which also did not get there. But what actually happened with this trade, let's just zoom in on that a little bit. There we go. It was around about here. In fact, I think it was that one. We took it past the 1% mark in terms of profit, so the stop loss was moved to break even, and this candle just took me out of break even, so that was a little bit frustrating, but one of those things. So you'll notice here that this was actually in sell mode whilst the DAX was in buy mode, so that was the reason why this sell signal came at a similar time that we were getting buy signals on the DAX. So it might seem a bit strange, but you know, sometimes you get disparity in markets. They don't always have to follow each other. So I was happy to take it. So it got off to an encouraging start, but I didn't take anything out of it and got stopped out of break even. So that was two pretty frustrating trades to begin the session. The third trade that I had was a long. It was on the DAX. And where was that? That was at 9.48. Because at this stage, because things were moving and we had our IFO numbers come out around about this sort of time here, I just paused any trading just to sort of let it settle a little bit. This was the next trade that I took. Looks like it was at 9.48, which is this one round here. Maybe even been after that. Looks like it's slightly different on Sierra charts as it was on MetaTrader. But this one would have also been valid if you were trading manually using Sierra charts. This one would have been a valid trade. That was the one I took. And that one, unfortunately, was again a break-even stop loss. So I had three back-to-back trades this morning that got into profit, over 1% profit. This one was barely over 1%, but it just about got there before turning around and taking me out at a break even. And the final two trades, one was a FTSE trade, and it was again another morning trade. It was around about 10 or just before. It's this one here on MetaTrader. That was a full stop loss. I wasn't able to move my stop loss to break even on this one. It didn't move far enough into profit to get me to move my stop loss, so I didn't, and that was me out for a bullet. So I had then a long on DAX. I can just move this FTSE trade detail here. It was that one. And the final DAX trade was this one. Let's just copy those over. There we go. And they were the five. So 5 trades. Both of these, this one and this one, which was around about 10.28. This one here, it equates to that one there. That was a stop loss as well. So basically I had 3 break-evens and 2 stop losses for today. So not a great day as far as performance, but encouraging as far as it was nice to see the first 3 trades run off. You know, had I have taken them out at 1%, it would have obviously been a better day, but that's not the way my strategy works. I like to see the winners be larger than my losers, so I let them run at the risk of having lots of small losses, and that's just the way that I work. So today we had 2 small losses, but there were 3 opportunities for decent winners, so you know, we'll see what happens again tomorrow. So that was me done. I had 3 bullets on the DAX, because technically a break-even trade is a slight loser for me because of the spread and all the rest of it. So that classes as a bullet. And I had 2 bullets on the FTSE, which is my limit. So I walked away. But in the afternoon session, we had a couple of other valid signals, or valid opportunities, should I say, which were not signals because I didn't trade them. But the first one would have been this one here. That was a valid sell signal right there. And we had a valid sell signal there, which would have done a lot better. And there was a couple more here, which perhaps would have been a little bit choppy. Not ideal. But none of those would have been taken because I'd already shot the bullets. And on FTSE, if we move into the afternoon session, there were, again, a bit choppy as far as price action is concerned. It did actually flip from sell to buy mode. There was a buy signal here, which may have been stopped out. And the second one also may have been stopped out, but had it have continued, would have performed quite nicely. Alright, and so for members, I've got an updated version of the MetaTrader platform, or the MetaTrader software, should I say. And so if you want a copy of that, just send me a message. And I've updated it so it now is a little bit more similar to the Sierra Charts version, because there were quite a lot of differences before. But now, yeah, they're going to be very, very similar indeed. So send me a message if you want that, and I will be able to get that over to you. But until tomorrow, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your evening, and take care. See you tomorrow.